My name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden. Here is where I empower women to reclaim their authentic power, embrace their inner wisdom, and transform life's most challenges. Transitions into profound opportunities for spiritual growth and self-discovery. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. Subscribe to the newsletter at Elizabeth Magical Garden, as well as check out my podcast at Elizabeth Magical Garden, which goes live every single day.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden, a magical garden reaching for the stars. Guys, welcome back to the podcast. How have you guys been doing? I know it's been a little while since I went live, but we're here, and I pray that all is well with you guys and you are in great spirits. Happy springtime. The spring is here, and the weather been come ça. I know it's springtime, but if you live in the northern hemisphere, you know what I'm talking about. It's been a little chilly. We went from 80s to now we're back in the 30s. I don't know. Is it just me? But we're going to ride it through, right? Because it is a beautiful sunny day. Anyway, guys. So I've been in this way of changing everything and really going into how I perceive in terms of finances and what God has to say about our finances, because it can be really easy to focus on lack and all the things that's telling us that we do, you're not enough, you don't have enough, you can't get enough. And it just allows me to refrain from a place of scarcity, and this way of thinking allows me to refrain from a place of scarcity and believing on what is being presented in front of me. I had a conversation not too long ago about reality, like the word reality, and what it means to me. And I realized, for myself at least, that way of thinking, like when people say not even reality, well, it's kind of the same thing, realistic. When people tell you, oh, you have to be more realistic, what is the real, be realistic in the real world. And I just know that if I was a type of person to always think about, always believe in just being realistic of anything in the way I don't believe I would be here. I wouldn't be speaking to you guys, because it does take being comfortable in a space of almost delusion, if you want to say, in order to create anything in life. Think about it. What if you look at any person that had and has achieved anything worth speaking of? When you look in their lives, they were coming from a place of self-belief to a point of being disillusioned, right? Because they were able to focus and allow themselves to be in a mindset of faith that was not seen yet, but yet they created the act that allowed them to obtain the very things in this physical life. So I wanted to discuss that. Living in overflow. Abundance is your birthright, guys. Abundance is your birthright. And this is something that I will always come back to, because this is something that I believe that we have to constantly be reminded of. We live in a world of scarcity. There is plenty enough, plenty more than enough, if that makes any sense, to go around, right? You do not have to refrain from believing that you can be abundant, that you deserve to be abundant. You do. This is your birthright. God's desire is for you to live in overflow, for you to have plentiful. Think about it. In Genesis, when Adam and Eve was in the Garden of Eden, it was a plethora of things around them. They were living in abundance. He started life in abundance. Even before he created Adam, he created the heavens and the earth. He created the livestock. He created the water, the fish, the stars. He created every single thing. So by the time he created after he created Adam after, he created, listen to what I'm saying. He created Adam after he created the world, right? So God created Adam after. So God's desire was for Adam to be abundant. He birthed Adam into abundance, right? He placed Adam in a field of abundance. He gave Adam the ability and the responsibility to name all the animals. All the animals. It even says that humans, we have dominion over everything. So this is not a God that is telling you that you have to live in starvation and live in lack and have this mindset of you're asking too much. You know, people will make you feel guilty because they do not have the courage to believe fruitful. They don't have the belief system. They're not in a position within their self. It's a personal thing. Whenever somebody is making you feel bad for wanting more in life, it's because they have not acquired, for whatever reason, the ability to think in that way. So what they'll do is make you feel and start to give you their advice, where it's like, well, you know, if you want this, aren't you supposed to do X, Y, and Z? No, I believe that this is what my abundance is here for me. And I also believe that God has already given me all that I need to succeed. Right. And when you come from that mindset, what you do is you unleash what God has for you, because you're moving in faith, and God loves that. Right. Right. And it allows you to come from a place of generous living. When you live from overflow, you can give freely, right? You're not holding on like, oh, I got to hold on to this last piece of dollar or this last thing, because I don't know when I'm going to get it next, right? When is the next time? When is the next time I'm going to do this? And you'd be surprised how lack will show up in your life in such a way where you don't even realize that you're living in lack. I will give you an example too. For instance, something as small, something as small as, now, if you was born in the 70s and the 60s, you already know we are a generation where we take care of our things and we keep it new. And I leave a comment down below, put a yes in the chat down below if you do this or you know somebody that does this. I will leave that sticker, you know, that sticker that says it's still new. Like, when you leave that tag on, I will leave that on forever. I will never take that tag off. Okay. To the point where it'll just peel off on itself. That is one would say, is that a form of lack? Because you're keeping something preserved. Now, one could say you're keeping it preserved, or or one will say that you're not used to getting new stuff. Right. And honestly, I just feel like, especially from our era, you took responsibility and pride for the things that you worked for, and you kept it a certain type of way, and it's almost glorifying to see that tag on there, if that makes any sense. I know it does for me, right? So when you live from overflow, you can give freely, right? Serve joyfully. And then it allows you to impact the world in such a space of giving, because you're giving knowing that your cup is overflowing. You're giving because you know that there is no way for you to not receive more. And it's not that you're giving in order to receive. It's just the ebbs and flow of life, which makes it joyful, because it truly is better to give than to receive. This is why I believe Christmas, one of the reasons why Christmas is so it's so exciting, because you worked so hard to get your children those gifts. You worked so hard to give your significant other that particular item that they've been dreaming of, and you can't wait to see their face expression, and the way they're receiving the gift alone allows you it just feeds you in a way that cannot be pronounced, right? And they don't know how many months you've been saving up for that particular gift. They don't know, those kids, those kids, they don't know the sacrifices that were made in order for you to get that gift. You know, bringing your lunch, putting money to the side, omitting that massage, you know, doing things that will allow you to put more than usual in a pot, because you know the feeling that you are looking for, because you know how happy it's going to make somebody else, right? And with that analogy, it allows you to receive so much from life, guys, right? So when we start to live life in that way, I truly believe it opens the floodgates and allow you to live a peaceful, joyous life, guys. It really, truly does, because God has put you here on this earth for you to be abundant. And when you say to yourself that you are living in overflow, that's the energy that you have. But if you are focusing on what that bank account is telling you, focusing on that bill, focusing on all the responsibilities and all the things that is telling you that you do not have enough, guess what? You're going to have more of that. You're going to get more of that energy, right? And that's not a place where you want to live, right? So allow yourself to live in overflow. Next is legacy and kingdom impact. When you are building in life, it's not just about money. It's not just about, success. And yes, success and money is definitely part of feeling abundant, but leaving a legacy for your children's children, I believe, should always be the main goal. Being the first to change the trajectory of your family's financial way, right? Using your wealth to advance God's kingdom and serve others. Because when you serve others, you are also serving God. And when you are serving God, you are literally changing your bloodline, right? Because now you are the first one in your family to consistently move in this way. And it's infectious, because when your family starts to see you prosper in this way, giving in this way, something starts to happen, a synergy starts to happen, and it allows them to now partake in that particular energy, right? Because listen, it only takes one conversation. It takes one conversation to change a person's life. You can make powers in a tongue. Life and death is in the tongue. So if you are speaking life into somebody, guess what? Life will be poured back onto you. And it's not about where it's coming from. It's about, first of all, where it's coming from is coming from God. And you can never outshine God. So if you are pouring into his children, guess what? God is going to be pouring into you, pouring into your children, pouring into your family, pouring into your loved one, pouring into your business, pouring into your life. So this is something that this is a dance, right? Abundance is a beautiful dance that you can now move with grace and with open hands rather than hold tight as if it's going to run away because you're not sure of when your next plate will be presented to you, right? And I understand this concept, this way of thinking can be a little tricky at times, especially when our senses is telling us otherwise. And what I would suggest to you is for you to spend time with the Creator God. Spend time reading the word of life. Spend time understanding, because I don't know about you guys, it is very hard. It would be really hard for me to believe in a God that I do not know. I need to have a relationship with you, right? When you speak to your significant other, the reason why, if he or she is, when they tell you something, you believe them, is because you have obtained a relationship. There's a relationship that has been built. So now you have a level of expectancy. When that person tells you, I'm going to pick you up at this time, you believe them. Why? Because you have a relationship. They have proved themselves. They have proved that they are a person of their word. When you were a child, when your parents told you, yes, I will get you X, Y, and Z for your birthday, you believe them because there is a level of expectancy from that relationship. They showed you that you could count on them. And when you start to have that level of expectancy with God, every single time God shows up in your life, guess what, guys? Your faith walk gets higher. Your faith walk becomes stronger, which allows you on faith to do more. This fly. I'm sitting by the window, guys. This, through faith, it allows you to do more. And when you do more, you receive more. You become more. You become more resilient. You become to be, you get to a point of, you get to a place. Let me sip some tea, because I could feel myself, I get excited. This topic is very exciting to me for so many reasons. This topic is very exciting to me, guys, for a plethora of reasons. And I just have to share the good news with you guys, because it's true. The more you get to a place where you are comfortable in your belief system, this is when the magic happens, I believe, because it becomes like almost a game. Like, okay, now you present me with this opportunity, I'm going to share this. And then you get to that point, and then you get blessed in that way. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, my faith walk, I'm scared, but I'm going to do this. And then God gives you the ability to move past those barriers. And then slowly but surely, you start jogging. Next thing you know, you start running, and then you're off, right? And you get to a point, and I want to say something before I go any further. It never gets 100% easy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. This way of thinking is not going to always be a cakewalk. A matter of fact, one would say it teeter-totters, right? Because we're human beings having a physical experience. There's so many avenues of why your faith can falter and why sometimes you feel stronger than other times. And what I would say is to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. In those moments where you feel weak, give yourself grace. And if anything, pray to God. I love this prayer that I believe I got from Pontius Pilate. No, where did I get this prayer from? I know it was in the Bible, but It goes it's very simple, and I ask God to help to please help me in my unbelief. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out all by myself. God, help me in my unbelief. Help me in my... You think God don't know that you struggle? You think that God doesn't know that you struggle? You have struggles? You have doubts? And this is one of the reasons why I believe that God blesses us even more so, because he knows how hard it was to keep that momentum. He knows how hard it was just for us to believe, right? Because we are fighting a spiritual warfare, right? So give joyfully. Say good morning. When you wake up in the morning, be joyful to the people that surround you, to your loved ones. You know, instead of it's I gotta go back to work. It's Monday. I hate Mondays. How about you get to go to work? You get to get dressed and be in a way where you can provide for your family. You get to take care of your children. You get to go for a walk because you are in a healthy body. You see what I'm saying? Right? I'm going to read something to you. My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of the glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. Right? My God will meet. My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Jesus Christ. Let me tell you something. My God, your God, God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Jesus Christ. Philippians 4:19. Riches of his glory, according to the riches of his glory. He will meet all your needs. So you don't have to be afraid. And even in those times where you do feel fear, understand that you were created to be abundant. Abundance is your birthright. The reality that you find yourself presently in is a man-masked reality that has produced what you are experiencing right now because of the inability to stay focused on the positive outlooks of life. Your inability to keep a level head and realize that you were chosen to live a life, a grand life of blessings, great health, prosperity, to be of good fruit to others. Why? Because you were taught that negative things happen in life. Like the first thing like if you trip, you cry, right? When you was a baby, you cry, you get back up. Oh, you had a boo-boo. Okay, you had a boo-boo. You go to school and you hear you're a good girl, you're a bad boy, you're a good boy, you're a bad. Like there's so many things as you were growing up that programmed you into realizing and acclaiming failures in your life. So by the time now that you are an adult, you have been mesmerized by pain, strife, lack from the things that you have experienced, from the things that you see, and so forth. So now what I am suggesting is a reprogramming and understanding that your ability to be abundant was already brought for you. It's not something that you have to go out and get. Okay. This is something that is already afforded to you. And the sooner you really start to understand and grasp this concept and make it your own and apply it to your life, is the sooner you will realize the abundance in the relationship that God wants to have with you. Right? Create a legacy plan. How do we create a legacy plan? I always mention about morning pages. There is a beautiful book that I have mentioned by Julia Cameron. I used to make my own, I used to create, I should say, my own, and I still will, stay tuned. I used to create my own planners, and for the longest time, right? And I would dedicate each one of them to certain things. And a couple of years ago, I believe like it was 2 years ago, I came across Julia Cameron's book called The Artist's Way. And she also has a workbook that, which is a journal, a morning pages journal that is dedicated to this book. And it wasn't until I started journaling in that way did I come to realize, because she has a lot of different prompts. She has a lot of different prompts that will help you kind of like trigger your thought process in a positive way. And it has changed the way I think in so many different ways. So be sure to check that out. I believe that it would be very helpful for you to get into that way. And I really love, like, she doesn't know me. I'm promoting her book because I really believe that every artist, I to the point where I feel like this should be a workbook in high school. It's that good, because it just not only solidifies, but it wakes something up within you, in your belief system and the relationship that God has for you as a human being. So I believe that this would be so helpful for you guys. Guys, be sure to write in your journal and say the things that you want. Profess it. Write down what that legacy will look like. And when you write it down, look at it every single day, because this is when we are able to bring our dreams into reality. Guys, be sure to look at all the comments. Well, you could do that too, or write a comment. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you be notified every time I upload a video, as well as check out my vlog channel at Elizabeth Magical Garden. I would love to have you there on that community as well. Guys, all the links will be down below. Guys, stay blessed, stay in peace, and stay empowered. Peace. Hey guys, leave a comment, a review, preferably 5 stars. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram, because what is popping over there. And also check out my YouTube channel. Just stay connected and see your girl's lovely face. Guys, I love you so much. Keep on pushing, and I'll definitely speak to you soon. Be blessed.